Our next keynote speaker is well known to the attendees of Steel Summit conferences. Dr. Alan Beaulieu is president and principal for ITR Economics. He is considered one of the country's most informed economists. With a reputation as an accurate, straightforward economist, Alan has been delivering award-winning workshops and economic analysis seminars in countries across the world to thousands of business owners and executives for the last 25 years. He is co-author of Prosperity in the Age of Decline, a powerful look at how to make the most of U.S. and global economic trends over the next 20 years. Alan also co-authored Make Your Move, a practical and insightful guide on increasing profits through business cycle changes. Please welcome Alan Beaulieu.
Thank you. Know about it. And it's also fit for Congress. If your congressman's coming, you can pass that along to them. It's only 16 pages, they could handle it. All right, you know that we're apolitical despite my bashing of Congress. Most of you do. For those of you that are new, ITR Economics is an apolitical firm, so we'll be talking about policies today, but not people. We'll be talking about potential impact. We're not going to try to make this an attack. We're going to be talking in terms of the near term, the longer term, and then we're just going to touch upon the real long term, because those of you that know me and ITR Economics have asked the question, are we still on track for the Great Depression? The answer is yes, and we'll just touch upon why we're still going to head into the abyss before all too long. The economy is bigger than politics. And while politics can certainly shake up an economy, change things, cause inflation and other things, the basics of the economy, though, are longer lasting than any administration, longer lasting than any policy. Every new administration wants to roll back things from the previous and add in their new things and add some twists and some turns, but the basic thrust of the economy is cyclical in nature and signaled by leading indicators. So beware of 2019. Do not have a lot of optimism, neither should you be overly pessimistic. Let's get realistic. It's going to be, in this industry, basically a flat year to mildly negative in some of your business segments. The downdraft happened, and on you go through life. You always can use the rate of change internally to guide your thinking and your tactical approach to the future, because it's logical. There's no emotional content. It's the perfect economist, no emotional content. We are the second largest exporting nation in the world. I don't know if you knew that or not. Most people don't think we export anything. We're the second largest in the world. And as we depend upon exports of goods, it makes up about 8% of GDP. That's a huge number. And at 8% of GDP, if it's slowed down because of retaliatory tariffs, the whole economy will slow because of that. It has a ripple effect throughout the economy. They borrow it, which is going to become your problem in the future, dear, as you have to pay that back, or they're going to tax me more. And she says, go ahead, tax the rich. I said, who raised you? Who did this to you? That's a terrible attitude. You wait, you'll get a job someday. Yeah. Last time I looked, we were producing 96% of the energy that we consume. If we just consider North America, we are energy independent because of our friends to the north and the south. We do not need another kilowatt from anybody on the planet. We do not need another BTU. We do not need another drop of oil from anybody on the planet here in North America. We take Saudi oil, we refine it, and we sell it. You probably saw a few months ago, we actually sent oil to the Middle East from Texas. We sold oil from Texas and they bought it in the Middle East. It was like, I must have died. Has been since January, and this has a correlation of 91%, which is a phenom, and it's telling us the economy will be slowing later this year and into 2019. It's a mild rate of decline, which says it will stay a mild, soft year, not a cataclysmic recession, nothing to worry about, but just don't forecast year-over-year growth in the same magnitude. What we have is some real winners and losers here, and some that are kind of on the bubble. Now, in the red states, if you don't have population growth, you don't have an economy for long, because you don't have labor, you don't have consumers, you don't have taxpayers. That's obviously a huge issue. If you're in one of the states that is pink, you're on the bubble, which means that this is really hard work, but you could make it. If you're in a deep red state, you got some serious problems. That's the perception. Here's the reality. Every generation thinks that about the generation behind them. Your parents thought that about you. I know my thought about me. I remember my dad telling me one day I was a hippie freak that would never amount to anything. Right on, Dad, right on. It's my goal in life, Dad. You nailed it, thanks. Very motivational moment for both of us. Decade of change like the 1920s was. It's a decade of hope. It's a decade of optimism. It's a decade of inflation. It's also in the 1920s a decade where there were 3 recessions. Don't forget that. So there's economic business cycle continues. But think of the 2020s as this decade where we're going to see great hope and change, where another generation comes to power. You Gen Xers, really briefly, and then the millennials. We're going to find that there's a ground shift in this country and an optimism that takes over. That's the roaring 20s that you'll be selling into. I thank you all very much for your attention and for your patience, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Thank you.